Russia and Ukraine. A 1,000-year history explained. The modern conflict between Russia and Ukraine has deep historical roots. To understand how these two neighboring nations reached this point, we must go back over 1,000 years and examine the events, political, cultural, and territorial, that shaped their paths. In the 9th century, a federation of Slavic tribes and Viking rulers formed a state known as Kievan Rus, centered in the city of Kiev. This early East Slavic state included parts of present-day Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. In 988 AD, Prince Volodymyr the Great adopted Christianity from Byzantium, shaping the religious and cultural future of the region. After his rule, Kievan Rus fragmented over time. In 1240, Kiev was destroyed by the Mongol invasion. The Mongols, or Tatars, ruled much of the territory for over 2 centuries. In the north, the city of Moscow began rising in power under Mongol oversight. Over time, Moscow positioned itself as a successor to the traditions of Kievan Rus. Meanwhile, western and southern Ukrainian lands came under the control of Lithuania and Poland. In the 16th and 17th centuries, Ukrainian Cossacks emerged as a powerful force. Seeking independence from Polish rule, the Cossack leader Bohdan Khmelnytsky allied with the Tsardom of Russia in 1654 through the Treaty of Pereyaslav. This marked the beginning of Russian political influence in parts of Ukraine, although the interpretation of the treaty has been debated in history. By the late 18th century, after a series of wars and partitions, most Ukrainian lands came under the Russian Empire, while the western regions, like Galicia, were ruled by the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Russian authorities promoted a shared identity while limiting Ukrainian language and culture. Meanwhile, a Ukrainian national consciousness began developing, especially in areas outside direct Russian control. After the collapse of the Russian Empire in 1917, Ukraine briefly declared independence. However, following the Russian Civil War, the region was integrated into the Soviet Union as the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. In the early 1930s, Ukraine experienced a severe famine known as the Holodomor. During Stalin's forced collectivization policies, millions died. During World War II, Ukraine was occupied by Nazi Germany before being retaken by the Soviet Army. The war caused immense human and material losses. In 1954, the Soviet government transferred Crimea from the Russian Soviet Republic to the Ukrainian SSR. At the time, both republics were part of the USSR, and the move had administrative significance. In 1991, as the Soviet Union collapsed, Ukraine declared independence. In a national referendum, over 90% of voters supported independence, including a majority in Crimea. Ukraine became a sovereign nation with internationally recognized borders. In 2014, mass protests in Ukraine led to the removal of its president. That same year, Russia annexed Crimea following a referendum that was not recognized by Ukraine or most of the international community. Conflict also began in eastern Ukraine, where armed groups declared independence in parts of Donetsk and Luhansk, with backing from Russian elements. Fighting between Ukrainian forces and separatists continued for years. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale military invasion of Ukraine, citing security concerns and political disputes. Ukraine resisted, and the conflict escalated into the largest war in Europe since World War II. The war has resulted in significant casualties, destruction, and displacement of civilians. Numerous peace efforts and international negotiations have been attempted. As of today, the war continues with no definitive resolution. Both nations have deep historical ties, but their political paths have diverged. The future of the region remains uncertain and continues to evolve.